Joining us now are Vinnie Adams and John Adams. Welcome to the show. How are you, gentlemen?
Hey
Hey,
there.
we're good.
You're doing
We're
well.
good.
So, Vinnie, where are you calling in from?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Excellent. And John?
I'm in Marietta, Georgia.
Aha. Excellent. So it's fun because you guys are able to see each other, but you're actually your brothers,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
so, so I know one of your other brothers. I know Robin Adams. So, of the Adams family, you've always been very musical, very talented. You all do something. But in this particular project, Nineveh, you have some other people that aren't biologically related to you, but you would probably consider part of your family. So, Vinny, who else is part of this team?
So there's Leaf Lewis and Vincent Parker. Leaf plays bass and Vince writes and he's a lead singer.
So, when Vinny, when you turned on the video, I noticed that there was an orange bucket behind you. And I said, most people would think that's a paint bucket, but it's not. It's an instrument to you as a
Yeah.
percussionist.
I do a lot of teaching, and in the schools, bucket band is a big seller for them. They love it, so they really they go all out for that, and it's really accessible, and it's a really inexpensive way for kids to learn music. The cost of instruments can be prohibitive, and so I have kind of a DIY approach to teaching music that works out very well. So it kind of you know helped me to kind of start my own little side business in that way, where when I do contracts and stuff, I go out under the moniker of homegrown rhythm, with the
Yes,
idea that people can make music anywhere, and in it way
absolutely.
they could just go in their own house. So that's where that
Absolutely.
comes from.
I love it. And John, for you too, you're both, it's so interesting because you're all individually very successful and collectively as well, right? So, John, let's talk
Yep.
about your shining career too in music.
Mm-hmm. Well, um, I don't know where to begin. I guess, uh, I mean, we really started way back in the 70s, and I was actually thinking today, and Vinny said it yesterday, that if it hadn't been for the story, right, of the Nineveh Road, right, in that song that we just released, when it talks about my father, we probably wouldn't be here right now, right, singing, because it's a true story. A lot of the stuff that we do is a true story. But with regards to my musical walk, I mean, I went to the High School of Music and Art, went to Brooklyn College Conservatory, went to Brooklyn Conservatory, and then, you know, you know, when I got out of high school, I didn't go to college right away. Started with Cuba Gooding in the main ingredient, that is Cuba Senior. Um, and from there, I had, you know, I mean, it's such a long time I've been doing it. I was just telling somebody this is what the 46th year that we've been
Congrats.
playing music, you know, and it doesn't feel like that, you know. Um, and I'm just trying to figure. I'm like, who else have I played? I played with Diane Moore. I mean, for the last 12 years, I've been doing residences overseas with a singer named Diane Moore. She had a hit record out in the '90s with a group called Alcatraz, but she's parlayed that into a contemporary jazz and R&B residence gig regularly. So I've been, you know,
That's
trolling
what
the
you've been
Arab
working
Gulf.
on.
Yeah, I was doing that for like a decade. I just got called back to do it again, but COVID stopped
Really?
that. So
Okay.
Yeah.
And Vinny, you know, I want to say, starts with an S, T, O, M.
Oh, that. Oh, yeah, that.
Oh, that.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah, I spent a little bit of time on Broadway doing Stomp, or off Broadway doing Stomp. But oddly enough, that just launched a whole other phase, because then after people know you're in Stomp, everybody wants you to do something like Stomp. Um, and so, it was a great feather to have in your cap. It was like high impact aerobics, 90 minutes every night for a 8 show week. Um, and I was in the best shape ever doing that. But but that credential in Stomp allowed me to uh, be chosen to lead a percussion troupe where Pepsi was celebrating their 100th anniversary. They took all the Pepsi employees to Hawaii, so they populated the entire Kona Island, all of the hotels with all of their employees from all over the world. And they brought in this group to do this industrial, and they created a second company so that they could service both. So I went in there for a tap dance when I don't tap dance, and I did horrible at it. And then and then at the end of the audition, they said, "Oh yeah, we're also doing this thing," and he, and he, took out some drumsticks. I was like, "Oh yeah, I could do that."
That I
And
can
so
do.
at the end of it, he ended up making me the lead percussionist for that group. So I got all expenses to Hawaii, got to share the stage with Kool and the Gang, River Dance, all those fun things.
River
And
dance.
like well-conceived accidents, So, you be in the company of certain folks, that there was a whole big show that week on that island. Ray Charles was there, Kool and the Gang was there, they were out on the beach performing. I was like, what? I can't afford to go to Hawaii myself, but somebody else's dime, hey, that'll work.
It'll happen.
But
It can, fun things can happen, and then the journey and the road, it leads you home, leads you here, right?
Right.
So you're coming back together. You're doing new releases. You have a new website. You're bringing your talents and your skills together. What does that mean? I'm going to go with you, John, first. What does that mean to you? What is the heart behind what it is you're doing now?
Well, the heart behind what we're doing now. I mean, we had an album. Finally, had done an album in 2006 and released it in 2007. And it was going pretty well. We were learning some things about how to get it monetized and all of that because we went independent. But then 2008 happened, and the Great Recession happened, and we lost everything. Right, and I shudder to mention the amount of assets and equity we lost. But there's no coming back from that. The only thing you could do is begin again. And it took me a decade to try to really, because I had asked myself, should I try to do this again? Because we lost a lot. But I think what really sparked me wanting to at least try, if it hadn't been for Robin, right, it probably would have never entered my mind to resurrect Nineveh Road. Robin told me that his friend Frank Fernandez and Ashley North liked two of the songs on the album, and we were at a family reunion at Vinnie's house. I think what was that, 2015 or something? My kids were there, everybody was there, and he said, "Yeah, Frank really likes these. He says, we may have an inn over here," and I'm like, "What? These songs are in the grave 10 years." so, so it got me thinking, and I was like,
Yeah.
maybe it's time to do this again. Because really, the whole project, as far as I was concerned, was dead and buried. You know,
And now it's here again. Time. I think, you know what I think it is too?
Yeah.
I think because we all need something now. We need that refreshness, you know, to move forward, right? So we have to like kind of refresh, you know, refresh, regroup, revitalize, you know, and proceed. So,
Yeah, I agree.
Vinnie,
I mean,
one of the reasons I wanted to have you guys on is just so that your fans could get a little connection with what's happening and get excited about the music. And we're going to play a little clip, but before we do, Vinnie, what else would you like to share about what you're present to today?
There's a lot, you know, like we have a really colorful history, but I think what it was built around was we were just fortunate to be surrounded by really, really talented people as a norm. Like, you know, John is being modest, but he was, you know, he was part of the class of '79 at LaGuardia, which was the original class of the movie Fame. And he was in the movie. And that movie was made about that particular class because of what it brought. Like that class was pretty special. And out of that class, a lot of things came. And the people that we were surrounded by at our house all the time came out of that germination pool of super talents, you know, but you have people that were surrounding them that are now legendary, you know, that are in the industry, that are doing great things. You know, Dawn Lewis, you know, is, you know, Leaf's sister. But we all grew up as cousins. So it was just normal. She wasn't Dawn then, but she was also in the band. And then she got the call from Cosby, and that was a wrap. You know, it was
and
weird
that
things
was
like
the end of that.
You know, and you know, so the people that surrounded us are really, really legendary now, and they came out of that school, and that was our norm. I was the youngest at the time, so I didn't realize until later that it wasn't normal to have access to people like that on a regular basis, because that was our life. We constantly had access to people like that as our friends, and that was just the norm. So, you know, it just made no sense not to do anything with all of that when we still had something to say. Like, we could have just cashed it in, but we still have lived life. There are songs that we had back then that started out as musical arrangements, and no matter how much we racked our brain, nothing would come out because we had not lived the stories that we needed to tell to make those songs come to life. And those songs are coming to life now and driving a lot of what has been fueling this project, because all the stories now exist to then keep this going. So it made no sense to stop when we still have stories to tell, and that, you know, that everybody can relate to.
The essence is there. The essence that's germinating and moving forward. So congratulations on your individual success, your collective success. Wish you always lots of joy. And who wants to say now, and now let's go to the clip? What do you guys want to lead us into that? And
Vinnie
now,
has the voice for it. I think Vinnie should say.
Okay, John, we're going to let
Now
Vinnie say it.
let's go to the clip.
Now let's go to the clip. Take care, guys. Be well.
Let me tell you about my papa. Was a good man, yes he was. But he had one little problem, like that booze a little too much, yeah. Though he'd never let it stop him from doing all he had to do. He fought and overcame that demon, a fight he couldn't afford to lose. Oh, I will always remember what was going on in those days, when my grandmama would sit him down. I could still hear her say, yeah, you got to change your mind. Whoa, whoa. If you want to build and grow, if you want to make and watch the seed you sow. Then let everybody know that you're walking on the Nineveh road. Whoa, 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 that you're walking